Well, isn't this peculiar that Ken Carson is now outselling Offset in the second week? Now, what do we always talk about? How the first week sales aren't really indicative of the quality of the album. It's about the hype of the artist at the time. If you had like a really good album the previous one, then you're likely going to have, and the rollout's good, like the marketing, then you're gonna have high first week sales. However, the second week, if people just really don't care about the album because it's trash, or they turn off them bots, then it's gonna plummet. Okay, so news came out this morning that Ken Carson is now outselling Offset in his second week. He lost the first week, which we'll go over numbers in a second, but now Ken Carson's album A Great Chaos is at number 28, I believe, or on Billboard, in the Billboard Hot 200, whereas Offset's is now at 30. Again, Offset was above him. I think it was like number 5 or something, and then Ken Carson was at number 11 in their first week. Ken Carson, I believe, had 47K first week, whereas Offset sold like 70,000. However, I just want to point out that out of this 70,000, it had 25,000 pure sales. And what do we always talk about with merch bundles and whatever? It's kind of cheating. Now, it is impressive when an artist can sell like a piece of clothing for like $50, because streaming, like, it just low-key, it's not even worth it if you can sell the clothing, because it's like an easier way to make money. That's why Travis Scott, he sells 500K of the merch. He doesn't even care about the stream revenue. He cares about the tens of millions of dollars that he's making from the merch, right? But if you subtract the 25,000 pure album sales, which is easier to manipulate, even though Billboard is cracking down on those rules, but you know how labels are. It's like white hat versus black hat hacking. Like, they're always a step ahead. Like, they know the little nuances and loopholes in the rules so that they can finesse the system, so that they can market their albums better, especially with Offset. You know, the Migos are kind of less relevant nowadays. I mean, literally, we just talked about how Ken Carson is outselling them now. So what does that tell you? Like, Ken Carson is more relevant. He is mainstream. If Offset's mainstream, he's like an A-list celebrity with Cardi B. What does that mean Ken Carson is? I wouldn't say he's A-list, but I still think like he's one of the top rappers now. Maybe not like, he's not pushing 100K, but you know, he's in the conversation, right? So anyway, as I was saying, out of these, if you subtract the 25K from the 70K, that means he's selling 45,000 in streams. It's first week, Offset is. However, if we go back to Ken Carson, technically streaming wise, Ken Carson outstreamed Offset with 47,000. So with that being said, Ken Carson kind of already beat him pure music wise. We cannot deny that Offset isn't just a bigger brand, because he's been in the game for, I don't know, since like 2015 or something, 2014. Like, when did Migos really blow up? It was like I was in high school. However, something happened. So obviously there's going to be like a decline in streams and sales every single week, unless you get like a poppin' TikTok song out of nowhere. So Ken Carson's album went down by 52%, which is actually, I don't know, I feel like that's relatively normal, because half of the people who listen to your album the first week are probably not going to listen to it again. Just that's how it is. Abandonment rate. However, Offset's, again, sold more than Ken Carson, allegedly, and now his sales in the second week went down 70%. Now, I'm not saying it's necessarily that the label turned off the bots, like they didn't care about the second week because they just wanted the high first week sales. We talked about this with Yassine when he came over. We did a podcast, because Offset was originally, I believe, like projected to sell 55K or so first week, but maybe that wasn't gonna hit on Billboard high enough in the rankings, like top 10, because Ken Carson was 11, he was doing 47. Okay, maybe he was gonna hit 10, but they wanted the top 5 debut compared to whoever else, Taylor Swift or whoever else is the top 5 in the Billboard 200. And so they pressed that button to make sure that he got 70K. And look, so 55, they probably did something with the pure album sales. I'm not too sure, because if they were to finesse the streams, then they still got outstreamed by Ken Carson. So that would be embarrassing by just even the bot company who was doing it. So he probably didn't do that, or maybe they do, I don't know. He signed to QC, which maybe if it's under Atlantic, then you already know that funny business is going on. But this just tells me that, you know, without all of the mainstream publicity and huge budgets that big labels give artists like Offset and other mainstream acts, Ken Carson and the underground, not underground, but people who arose from our niche, the underground, like, we like them because it's real. It's real. We can see it. We see their shows. People are actually buying tickets. They actually have a loyal fan base where I swear to God, I feel like so many artists in the music industry, like, literally don't have fans. They have innocent bystanders who just like see them on all these blog pages on Instagram all the time, and so therefore they like get tapped in a way, but they're not necessarily fans. They're just gonna listen to it because it's like in front of them, or like it's in the playlist they're listening to, or it's on the radio, you know what I'm saying? Whereas again with Ken Carson, like, or Yeet, or anyone else in this lane, even like Uzi and Cardi, like they have super fans who are going to continue listening to their music, buy their tickets to their shows. Whereas Offset, man, I would actually say by himself, Ken Carson might sell more tickets than Offset if they were both to perform as solo acts. You know what I'm saying? I really do. And it's already just showing here. And also I just want to point out, so Offset got 25K first, or like merch bundles first week or whatever it is. Y'all really think people bought 25,000 of whatever he was selling? Like, I didn't even know he was selling anything. Granted, I didn't even really listen to the album, but he had Travis Scott features. He had Future, I want to say. He had 2 Cardi B. So he had all the help in the world. What did Ken Carson have? He had Uzi and Destroy Lonely. So it's literally unfair. The cards are stacked against Ken Carson, and he's still winning. So again, what does that say? It says Ken Carson is mainstream now. We already talked about it before, but I just wanted to, you know, make that clear. And look, already first day Spotify streaming numbers for Ken Carson, Offset's new projects, A Great Chaos, is beating Offset, and it just continued. But they had to press that button on the merch bundles, and they still lost. It's honestly embarrassing. Negative 70% on the second week. Not only does that mean that you're not pressing that bot or merch bundle button anymore, but that means even if you didn't, that the album was not good enough for people to come and listen to your album again. They were just like bored with it. I don't care what anybody says. Ken Carson just beat Offset. And now it's so bad because remember when I think it was like Ken Carson or Offset, one of them previewed a song with the other. I think it was Ken Carson, and it had Offset on it, and then people were like tagging him or whatever, and then or like Rap or Academics posted it and said, does Ken Carson have a feature from Offset? And then he said, don't know, dude. And then all of a sudden, now what? Ken Carson might have to start saying that about Offset. Don't know, dude. He's below me on the Billboard charts, bro. And that's all I gotta say.